Know where those donors
Scientology.
well, I don't know where those donors are going to go, but we are watching the Republican donors very, very closely. We're told that this latest push on the part of Jeb Bush, at a column today in the Wall Street Journal, talk about easing regulations. That might be a snore to potential voters, but to the business community, it's a front and center issue. And I'm wondering, Dagan, whether that's his way of saying, hello, help me.
It's definitely a plea for money, and definitely that. Also, I think that his strategy is he's going to have a detailed policy on everything that you can imagine. So when his opponents
Hasn't helped him in the polls.
But when his opponents finally come out, Donald Trump with some details, he'd be like, been there, done that, did that back in September. Where have you been? I think
it's about raising money. Marjorie, who was also with us, Marjorie Clifton, former Obama campaign consultant. I think it's about reminding those money guys who've been sitting on their hands, and maybe were very instrumental in forcing Scott Walker out of the race when they closed their checkbooks, to start opening them up. What do you think?
I think so, because Scott Walker was actually his closest competitor, and Bush has taken a 6-point jump just over since June, measuring up this Wednesday on Real Clear Politics. So he actually did have an immediate surge. Now, with Walker dropping out of the race, he's shored up a space that didn't exist before. And I think how he differentiates himself is exactly that: pandering to the business community, having specific policies, having a business case to back those, where there isn't a lot of substance.
That's a strong word, but I know where you're coming from.
Well, okay, reaching out to.
Are you hearing, Gaspo, that some of those guys, like your buddy Scaramucci, are being wined and dined and wooed by these candidates?
They're all being wooed, and Anthony would he was on,
yes.
He basically said he's going to be speaking with everybody. They're all calling him now. So they're all.
No way he's going to join Jeb Bush.
I don't think so. I mean, I just think that I think he's very loyal to Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney feels slighted by Jeb the way Jeb.
So it's between Marco Rubio and Kasich.
I think he stays out. You know who I think is the most?
So.
I think he's going to be neutral. Kasich is an interesting guy, and I'll tell you why. He can make the case better than Jeb. When I was listening to you talk about Jeb, how Jeb's going to address Trump and others with these plans, I was saying to myself, God, I'd rather listen to Dagan explain it than Jeb. I mean, and
Dagan would be a fun president.
That's the problem. That Jeb
be a fun president. She'd yell at people.
If Donald Trump said one thing that resonated through this campaign, it's Jeb is low energy. You could come out with all these. Like I said, I'd rather hear you say it than him.
Well, that's why I think that money crowd is focusing on those who have the oomph. And I don't know who that is yet. But they're going to look at, if you're looking at a parley alternative, what do you think, Dave?
I think you need to pick up the level of passion among these other candidates. I think Kasich is very direct.
Okay.
And he's on point.
Margie, do you buy that? Who's an instant beneficiary in this morass?
Well, I think Jeb's stepping aside, actually differentiating himself and not touching any of those. And Jeb's a Catholic, too, so I'm interested to see how he's going to respond to the Pope's visit this week, as with Rubio. But I think there's going to be opportunities that are going to continue to come, and it's going to be an opportunity, again, to not jump in the muck with all these others that are sort of duking it out with each other.
If Jeb was smart, he would point out one thing about the Pope, and I think one thing only. He's talking to President Obama about climate control when Planned Parenthood is butchering babies.
And when Christians
make that point, it's an excellent point.
We don't know what's happening in those conversations. We do know that the Pope has helped one capitalist institution, fiat. There's selling more cars than ever.
My God.